Quote the Raven.
Nevermore.
The Raven. Yeah, so John Cusack's in this movie doing his, by far one of the best Nicolas Cage impressions I've ever seen. I mean, he's really doing that scenery-chewing, kind of over-the-top dramaticism, but it works in this movie. For those of you who don't know, this is a fictional take on the last couple of days of Edgar Allan Poe, and it's really done in that kind of, that From Hell style of filming. Although, a lot of the things in this movie, for the most part, they try to play this movie out like a murder mystery. And this movie, for the most part, is a lot like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, where League of Extraordinary Gentlemen wasn't necessarily a bad movie, but it wasn't exactly a good movie either. And it was just entertaining. Put it like that. It was just entertaining. Because League of Extraordinary Gentlemen has one crucial moment in the movie that completely destroys it for you. And this movie has the same kind of thing. The thing is with The Raven, they tried to play this like a murder mystery. And I love murder mysteries, okay? I'm all for murder mysteries. I'm all about that. But the problem is, I haven't exactly seen them done well. And the way you do a good murder mystery is you set up suspects and you provide clues and red herrings as to who the murderer could be. Things like that. I love things like that. This movie failed at doing so, and in that, the ending is kind of cheap because there was no setup for the ending. It just kind of comes... It just feels like it's coming out of left field because the writer writing this really didn't want the inspector to be the murderer all along. And that's kind of the gist I got from it. But overall, I will say, like, the first quarter of the movie is good. Up until, like, the party. Because after the party, logic just kind of gets thrown out of the window. Because, during the party, one of the main character's daughters get kidnapped, but the thing is you don't see it happen at the party. It's just kind of like she was there, and you see her, like, leave, and there are some circumstances in it, but you see her leave, and then he gets a note, and he's like, she's kidnapped, and I'm like, when did that happen? And I kept having to rewind it to see if I missed something, and I didn't, but apparently she was kidnapped, so at that point in time I was just like, okay, whatever, alright. I know what this is now, just let's get this over with. So, I was entertained, I'm not gonna lie. John Cusack really does his best to like leap out of the screen and like slap you with like just over the top hamminess, but it works here because, you know, he's playing Edgar Allan Poe, he's kind of a drunken louse. I love that, but, and also there's this one particular scene where he's like, I'll send you to hell! I'll send you to hell! And you can't help but laugh at something like that. Like, I can totally see Nicolas Cage doing this, and, so, yeah, but, would I recommend it? If you liked League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, you would pretty much like this movie, I will say that. Because it is kind of in that same alignment. Even though the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was a straight-up action movie, so, I mean, you do kind of like, you know, turn your brain off, or at least, like, dull your cognitive faculties just a bit. But for this movie, it was played like a legit murder mystery and all that, but it's just the failure to establish some real clues and things of that nature until like the very end just felt like they were half-assing it, and there was no like real like build-up to get us to, or to make us say, that's the killer, no that's the killer, no that's the killer, that's the you know, I like that whole thing. I like that's the, you know, I like that, and this movie didn't have that for me, so I can't really enjoy it on the level of a murder mystery. And this kind of gets me into the problem with movies like this when they try to take actual historical characters and put them in a different context. I didn't see Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, not going to, not interested. But the thing is, when you do this, it kind of cheapens what you already created. Meaning, if this wasn't about Edgar Allan Poe, or maybe it had Edgar Allan Poe's stories involved in the movie, but it wasn't Edgar Allan Poe. It was just completely about the inspector finding a guy who's miming his kills off of the works of Edgar Allan Poe. That would be an awesome movie. And I think that would change a lot of things for it. Because altering the mythology is so much better than altering history. If that makes any sense. So, this movie, if you want to be entertained, if you want to turn your brain off or dull your cognitive faculties for a bit, just to enjoy a movie, I say have at it. It's not terrible, but it's not great. Also, the ending title sequence had like modern, like it was so, like the ending title sequence was just so like modern that it kind of takes you out of the movie and you're like, what just happened here? Why does this look so up to date? And me and my girlfriend both had the same issue with that. So that will do it for me. I will see you guys later. Peace.